Dr. Isela Garcia, and welcome to the Kindergarten Experience, where we engage children's minds, provide meaningful opportunities for learning, and encourage critical thinking. How do we do that? Experiments like this. This one is called Movement of Water Drops on Different Surfaces. Let me tell you what you're going to need. You should have a couple different surfaces to use with children. Here we have plastic wrap, we have wax paper, we have aluminum foil, newspaper. We also have some bubble wrap. We have paper plate, and we have a plastic plate. Then we have a pipette, and a dropper will work just as well. The cool thing about a pipette is that it's completely clear, so you can actually see the water fill to the top, which is pretty exciting for kindergartners. Then you need a straw and some water with food coloring or liquid watercolors. Either one will work. You simply want to add enough where the children can see the drop. A water drop by itself works as well, so if you don't have any of those, you can do that. So all we're going to do is, using the pipette, have the children fill this full of water. Now the idea here is to have children create one drop on the surface. Simply one drop. Now that takes a lot of effort. And if you notice, just me, even as an adult, squeezed out 2 drops, and that's okay. Because what happened was it formed into one blob. That's an opportunity to have a conversation with children. What is that? Why did that happen? And then does it really become one drop, or is it 2 still separate drops? So it's lots of opportunity for engagement, for open-ended questions, and to ask them about what they're observing. When we really look at children as scientists, we give them the lens to see themselves as active members within their learning process. So we have to provide these opportunities where they get to really investigate what it is they see. So you're going to ask them to simply move the drop around and notice what happens as the drop is moving, and just ask them to describe that. What's happening as the water moves? What's being left behind? Ask them without any intent for a right or wrong answer. This is the opportunity for just to expand upon what it is they're observing. So once you do that, the next step would be, I wonder what would happen if we used a straw to blow the drop onto other parts of the plate. Now I'm going to add another drop to this side. And I added a couple drops just to make it a little bit bigger. And I'm going to blow to see the difference between the movement before and the movement now with blowing through a straw. What's really cool is, and I don't know if you were able to see it, but one of the things that you will hopefully observe when you're doing this with children is the breath actually creates sort of this mist. And you can see the shadow on the plate. That's really an exciting thing to talk about with children, and to really talk about the movement and whether it moved as easily or as quickly as the first drop did. So another way to kind of extend this experience is to introduce another surface. Another surface would be the wax paper. Now the wax paper, I would begin with touching the surface. So you begin with touching one side and then the other side, and talk about whether there's a difference between the way the 2 sides feel. And if you pay attention close enough, you actually notice one side is actually waxier than the other. So same thing, and you say to kids, you say, okay, scientists, we're going to drop 1 drop onto the wax paper, and we're going to move the drop just as we did in the last experience. So we're moving it around, and we're going to notice how easily does it move. And you know, it's a good idea to flip it on the other side and then provide the same opportunity to move it on the wax paper, because like I mentioned, the 2 sides are different. So then, to deepen the experience, you want to bring back the plate, and you want to have them tilt it and move it and compare and contrast between the 2 experiences, and ask them, write down this information as they're talking. Have that pen and paper and listen to the language that they're using, listening to how they're thinking about it, listen to how they're problem solving when they're trying to move the drops around. This informs you as a teacher. It tells you where they're at in terms of their observation, their ability to articulate, utilizing the language, and even looking at some of the areas of just understanding the experiences that are happening and then being able to articulate it to peers. That's a whole nother level of dialogue that we want to encourage. So you as a classroom teacher, we want to make sure that you're utilizing these, what we call juicy words, these expanded vocabulary words, to encourage children to think critically and to understand it within the context of their experiences. The way to do this is to use one of these trees. You simply put on index cards the words that you want to intentionally integrate into this experience. Some of these words are foil, aluminum, compare and contrast, liquid, surface, and so it's a visual reminder for you to remember to incorporate this as you're engaging with children. What's super incredible is that they'll start to refer back to this as well, because they'll start to notice the words that you are using are actually captured here. And even pointing it out is an incredible opportunity for them to gain a deeper understanding of the spoken language and the written language within the context of this experience. So use it in your planning. What would be the next steps in terms of helping children develop even deeper understandings through experiments like this? So let's make a commitment to engage minds, and don't forget to have fun. The Kindergarten Experience is brought to you by the Virginia G. Piper Charitable Trust in collaboration with the Arizona Department of Education and the Alessi Group.